Okay, everyone, I think we're just about ready to get started. Let me get the Steam file going. Excuse me. Okay, I think we're ready. Await everyone, this is OBS. OBS. Await everyone, this is Regulus Pastor, and welcome back to Higurashi no Naku Koro ni. I don't know why I keep wanting to do that pitch accent wrong when Higurashi. Anyway, it's getting interesting in Onikakushi-hen. Cage is planning to pick up a baseball bat at school to defend himself, and it won't attract suspicion as, you know, him carrying a weapon or anything, because it's a baseball bat. But he saw one at school, and he figured if he carries it around with him, it should at least deter anyone who would possibly attack him. So, let's get, I don't know whether to say let's get started, let's continue. Let's get continued. Or let's get continuing. Okay. You may notice that I may sometimes reference the anime Paranoia agent, or Moso Dairinin, as it's known in original Japanese, a lot because of the baseball bat and because of Cage's paranoia, which is debatably caused by himself. So he would be his own paranoia agent. It makes a lot more sense if you've seen the anime. Don't worry if things go over the top of your head this stream with those references. It's just me being silly. Well, I think I'm quite hilarious. Let's get started with the tips. Not feeling so hot. Okay.
最近、ケイチ君の元気がないね。機嫌が悪いのかな？
Cage Kun's been feeling down lately. Maybe he's in a bad mood.
さーて、どうしたんだろうね。恋の病にでもかかってるんじゃないの？
I wonder. Maybe he's got a crush on someone?
みーちゃん、それ飛躍しすぎ。
みーちゃん That's a logic leap.
Rather, that should be translated.
That's jumping to conclusions.
No. Maybe, that's, I don't know. I don't know how that would best be translated.
What do you think?
さあね。
Don't know.
ケイちゃんひょっとして、かな？
Could be a K-town. Maybe.
わかんない。
I don't know.
あの日、ケイちゃんと車で話してたの。中年のでっぷりした男だったんでしょ？
That day, K-town was in that car talking to some tubby middle-aged guy, right?
間違いない。
Yeah, no mistake.
大石のやつ、ケイちゃんに何を吹き込んでるのかな？
That Oyashiro. He probably fed him something fishy.
真剣そうだったよ。ケイチ君は顔面蒼白だった。
He looked serious. Cage-kun's face was so pale.
あのね、レナはよく知らないだろうけど。
You see, you might not know this.
実はあいつ、お社様の使いなんだよ。
but he's actually the messenger of Oyashiro-sama.
何の話？
What do you mean?
あいつが現れるとね、必ず鬼隠しが起こるの。
Whenever
本
he...
当だよ。
You done?
Whenever he shows up, someone is demoned away. No lie.
Hey, LeBoost, what's up?
あれ？そうなの？
Oh? Is that so?
おととし、リカちゃんのお母さんが受水したでしょ？その直前に大石が尋問してたんだよ。
The year before last, when Rika-chan's mom drowned, right? Right before that, she was visited by Ooishi.
そういえば、サトシ君が転校する前にもいたね。
Now that you mention it, he was around before Satoshi-kun transferred out too.
転校？レナはいいやつだよな。
Transferred? You're so sweet, Elena.
で、今度はケイチ君の前に現れたんだ。じゃあ、ケイチ君も鬼隠しになっちゃう？
I knew better that time than to speak too soon.
So this time, he's appeared before Keiichi-kun. So Keiichi-kun is going to be demoned away too?
An empty silence hung in the air. And then it was suddenly interrupted. By loud laughter. Okay. That was a short tip, and there was only one of them. Not complaining, I don't want to blow up my voice early. Okay. So, where we left off, Keiichi has resolved to get this baseball bat at school. Excuse me. And he figured if he carries a baseball bat around, he can deter any attackers while not arousing outsiders, or while not arousing uninvolved people's suspicions as to him carrying a weapon. This was the first time I'd ever woke with such clarity. It was 5:59, just moments before my alarm would go off. I was amazed at the precision of my internal clock. I had made preparations for the next day of school before I went to bed. I changed quickly and descended to the deserted lower floor. It appeared that my mom was still asleep. Neither breakfast nor lunch was ready. Yesterday, I just unilaterally declared that I'd be leaving early today, so it couldn't be helped. I slathered jam on some bread and topped it with instant cocoa. Just as I was finishing up breakfast, Mom rose groggily from her slumber.
あら、ケイチ、今日は早いのね。
My Keiichi, you're up early.
学校の行事か何か？
Is there some sort of school event?
別に。
Not really. Answering bluntly, I picked up my bag and stood after stuffing 2 slices of bread down my throat.
もう行くの？
You're leaving already?
お弁当は？
What about lunch?
もうちょっと待ってくれないとできないわよ。
If you don't wait a bit, I can't make it.
If I waited for her to make my lunch, then it would end up being the same time as usual. If I did that, it would raise the chances of me running into Elena and Mio on the way. Yes, from today onwards, I was going to go to school alone.
今日はいいよ。
I'll be fine for today.
じゃあお昼はどうするの？
Then what will you do for lunch?
抜け出して商店で菓子パンでも買うよ。
I'll slip out and buy some bread or something at the store.
そう。じゃあこれ、お昼代ね。
Really? Then here's some lunch money.
ちゃんとレシート持ってくるのよ。
Be sure to bring me back the receipt.
I took the 1,000 yen bill from Mom and slipped it into my pocket. And by the way, 1,000 yen isn't much. It's about $12. I think. Right now, anyway. I don't know how much it was in, American currency in the 1980s.
こんなに早いけど、レナちゃんたちもこんなに早いの？
It's pretty early. Is Rena-chan up this early as well?
いや、俺だけ。
No, just me.
レナちゃんには早く出るって伝えてあるの？
Did you tell Rena-chan that you're leaving early?
I have no reason to tell her every little detail now, do I? Finding it difficult answering you onslaught of questions, I made an annoyed face.
レナが来たら、ケイイチは先に行ったって伝えてよ。
Tell Rena that I went ahead when she comes. I just noticed this. I know this is supposed to be like sprigs of Japanese maple. Does that not look like cannabis? I know I'm ruining the mood. Okay, I have to force myself to go on.
ちょっとケイイチ、待ちなさい。
Hey, Keiichi! Wait!
It's not that I didn't trust my parents. I just couldn't rely on them. They couldn't help me. I could only hope that they didn't get involved. It was safer that way. My mom's annoying voice was cut off by the slam of the door. The first time since I moved here, I headed down the road to school alone. Up until now, I had always walked down the same path at the same time each day. So I always met with the same people at the same places. But today was different. I didn't meet the people I would normally, and nobody was at the places where I would have normally met them. Of course, Rena wasn't in the spot where we usually met, and there wasn't anyone at the spot where we would have met up with Mion. The length of trees' shadows, the morning air, and the brightness of the sun, it was a completely different type of morning from what I was used to. Without a doubt, it felt strange. It left me with the impression that I had destroyed the illusion Hinamizawa had set up for me before I had enough time to prepare all of the props needed to deceive me.
あら、ケイイチくん。
My Keiichi-kun!
今朝は早いわね。みんなで早朝から待ち合わせ？
You're so early today. Is everyone meeting early this morning?
The person who called out to me was someone we always passed by as they were taking a walk along the edge of the fields. Their name was, I forgot. Of course, this wasn't the spot where we usually passed each other.
今朝は早くに目が覚めちゃったので、気分転換なんです。
I woke up early today, so I thought it would be a good change of pace.
あまり気にしないでください。
That's all. I threw out a random excuse.
レナちゃんやミオンちゃんはどうしたんだい？
What about Rena-chan, Mion-chan?
今日は一人なの？
Are you by yourself today?
ええ、まあ。
Well, yeah. I was being asked the same type of questions my mom was asking, so I answered them in the same uninteresting, vague manner. It wasn't funny being asked where Rena was each time I passed by someone, but maybe it was to be expected. It was because for so long we were always together so amicably. Even I felt that if I let my guard down, we could still be Stop it, Keiichi. Don't think about that anymore. You spent all day yesterday thinking about how dangerous it was to go soft, didn't you?
Beep, beep, beep.
A car horn blared from out of nowhere. Sorry, I'll put the mic further away. Even though I was walking, lost in thought, that horn was way too close. A mechanical behemoth barreled at me from behind, catching me completely off guard. By the time I turned around, the van's hulking chassis was almost on top of me. I'd seen plenty of cars veer to the opposite shoulder to avoid pedestrians, but this car was doing the opposite. It felt like there was somebody on the opposite shoulder and the van was swerving in my direction to avoid them. That blissfully ignorant train of thought delayed me from realizing something much, much more important. That large mass was hurtling right at me. Was it going to hit me? The inside of my head instantly flooded with a painfully cold liquid. In that moment, the scene before me, no, time itself, had frozen. In the silence of that frozen moment, I compared the van, so close that I had no way to dodge it, and my body, the upper half, twisted awkwardly in order to look behind me. There was no way I could dive out of the way in my current position. If I lost focus now, this moment would unpause and I would probably be plowed over, caught in a silly pose. Okay, just making sure my mic is on. Bend my upper body over towards the paddy by the side of the road. If I bent far enough, I'd get away with just being hit by the side view mirror. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, the temporal stasis was shattered by the deafening sound of the van. The side mirror struck my shoulder, sending me spinning off through the air like a top locked in my contorted position. Sent tumbling through the air, I crashed into the muddy paddy by the side of the road. So it's more like... There we go. Fix the sound effect. My entire body was soiled and drenched. But the choice I had made in that instant was unmistakably for the best. I was covered in mud, but when the alternative was being hit by the car, it was the closest I could be to being unscathed. Rising out from the paddy, I had enough in me to glare over at the stopped van and yell profanities at the driver. I'm not sure if he was able to see me, but the van sped off suddenly. Wait, darn it! This was what they call a hit and run, wasn't it? I couldn't help but continue yelling out profanities. The disgrace from being covered in mud hurt me more than any physical wounds. I slogged through the muddy paddy and made my way back onto the road. This is a crime, gosh darn it! Crap! I'll track you down and sue you. Yes, I know I'm censoring a lot. This is a decent-pleasing stream, what can I say? If I go looking for a van, I'm sure to find it in this little village. The path I was on had rice paddies on either side, and it had become so narrow that one car could barely fit through. It wasn't a place you could tear full speed down in a car, let alone pass by pedestrians. Not only was it a narrow road, but the car just now was closer to my side of the road than the other when it went past me. Even as I cursed, I was desperately trying to suppress the dark cloud roiling up within me. This wasn't just a hit and run. That car just now was trying to run me over, wasn't it? He's somewhat on the mark. I'll just say that much. Can't spoil much now. Thinking back, I did feel like there had been a car creeping up on me slowly for a while. That's right. As soon as I parted ways with that person taking a walk, I had that feeling the whole time. If it had wanted to pass me, then it had no shortage of chances. Normally, I would have felt suspicious and turned around sooner. But I was lost in thought, and now I was kicking myself for not realizing it was there sooner. And then, when the path became narrow and there's no one else in sight, he floored it. If I had hesitated for even a moment, the result would have been no laughing matter. As the adrenaline rush from nearly being run over subsided, and the realization of just how terrifying the preceding events were sunk in, there was no doubt about it. That van was intentionally trying to hit me. A cold, viscous sweat seeped from my scalp and slid down my back before dribbling off. I struggled to avoid falling into a panic. There was still the possibility that this was really just an accident. Calm down, Keiichi. But also, don't be so naive, Keiichi. Being that Lax will get you killed next time. You need to always be on your toes. Don't give them any openings. If my enemy was really out to kill me, the next time, they would use the more reliable method. If that time came, and I was acting like I was now, getting covered in mud was the price I had paid for my own naivete. Covered in mud, but without injury. Not even a sprain. I guess this is what you would call the silver lining. I began walking again, this time cautiously. I wouldn't even show a hint of carelessness. I suspected only Rena and the others up until now. No. It was because I had suspected them that I believed there were no other enemies. Oyashiro-sama had said so, didn't he? There was the possibility of a village conspiracy. Was I really mired so deeply in the situation that I had no choice but to try and carry on as usual? Wouldn't it be just safest to hold myself up in my house? But the moment I abandoned my regular routine, everyone around me would abandon theirs as well. That was just too horrifying of a thought. I recalled the tales Oyashiro-sama told me of when Hinamizawa was still called Onikakushi, A frightening tale of an entire village of demons hunting their prey, surrounding them, and eating them alive. One must not interfere with the demons. One must pretend not to see it. The enemy were numerous. The whole village. The villagers, with their unwavering faith in the curse, would do nothing to help me. The strong, sudden flash of sunshine made me slightly dizzy. I had no idea what was going on anymore. When I suspected it was the work of man, I would catch a glimpse of Oyashiro-sama's curse. And when I suspected it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, someone would poke their head out. What was coincidence? What was intentional? Who was my enemy? Who was just a bystander? No, what I really, truly wanted to know was, how did I end up with the proverbial bullseye painted on my back? Eventually, an answer in a form I could understand will appear. I don't care when it will happen, because until then, I cannot die. That alone fueled my resolve to fight and will keep me alive. Oh, sorry. I read will as a noun at first instead of auxiliary verb. I remembered seeing the metal bat in the gym storage shed, but there was a padlock on the door barring my entry. At the very least, I wanted to get my hands on it before everyone else arrived at school. I circled around the school grounds impatiently. But all I could find were things like pieces of lumber, nothing that I could bring into the classroom easily. Then, I had an epiphany. I should search inside the classroom. If it was something in the classroom to begin with, then there wouldn't be a problem. I wish I could think like that more often. I just keep looking in the same wrong place for who knows how long, and it turns out it wasn't even there. I could tell that everyone's indoor shoes were still in their lockers. Good thing I came early. Nobody else was here yet. I wondered, what could I find in the classroom? I didn't think I could find an especially effective weapon like a bat, but it couldn't be helped at this point. Until the gym storage shed was open, I needed to find a substitute. A lingering hint of naivete whispered that there was no way I'd be attacked at school. But such soft ideas would no longer protect me. To think that they were slowly making their way into parts of my life that I once thought impenetrable. The yawns. Feels yawn, man. In the worst case, my own house might not be safe anymore. That was an incredibly frightening thought. But I believed that not considering the worst case scenario would have been even more frightening. Anyways, I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. So long as I lived, then I will definitely be able to escape this labyrinth of nonsense. Definitely. My exploration of the classroom came to an impasse. That much was to be expected. There was no way there would be anything that could be a weapon in the classroom. In case of emergency, there was probably nothing I could do but swing my own chair around. My gaze landed on the lockers that had come to be used for personal storage. The locker that Milan used to store a pile of games was among them. There was one for each person in the class, all lined up. Of course, there was one for me as well. Oh yeah, there was supposed to still be a tracksuit in my locker. Seeing me covered in mud would be strange. I should go change later. But first I needed a weapon. If one of my classmates came, it would be hard to rummage through all the lockers. I swiftly began opening the lockers one by one. They were mostly just filled with things like gym clothes, personal items, and umbrellas. An umbrella. If I couldn't find anything better, then this would have to be my weapon. I was about to give up on finding anything decent when I opened up the locker that held exactly what I wanted. It was, without a doubt, a metal bat. It was well worn and pretty beaten up, but there was no doubt it was usable. In that locker that reeked of mold, there also hung a baseball uniform. It was probably the locker of a student in a Pee-wee league or something like that. If that was the case, then he'd probably ask for it back. At that time, I could hear the voices of the children scuffling their way noisily in from the hallway. Amongst them, I could make out Rika-chan and Satoko.
おはようございますです。
Good morning.
あらあらあら、今朝はお早いですわね、ケイチさん。
My, you're quite early this morning, Kate, so...
I nonchalantly hid the bat I was holding behind my back.
なんなんですの、その身なりは。
What is with your outfit?
泥だらけでしたよ。
You're covered in mud.
ああ、まあ、ちょっとあってな。
Yeah, I had a little incident.
すぐ着替えるから勘弁しろ。
I'm gonna change now, so cut me some slack. With that said, I began taking off my clothes. Satoko began to blush just as I expected her to. Purr.
レディーの前でお着替えなんてしつけがなってませんことよ。
Changing in front of a lady. Have you no tact at all?
着替えをじーっと見てるレディもしつけがなってないと思うぞ。
I would think that a lady staring at someone who was changing would be the one lacking in tact.
男子は更衣室がないんだから諦めろ。
There's no changing room for the boys, so just deal with it. As Satoko feigned disgust, she went to the hall still blushing. Man, you know, this is a small village in 1983 when, you know, there's not a changing room for the boys because privacy is for girls only, apparently. I never understood that reasoning. Conversely, Rika-chan continued to stare at me, preparing to change.
リカちゃんもレディーなら着替えを見てるのは良くないと思うぞ。
If Rika-chan is a lady as well, then I don't think it would be appropriate for you to be watching.
僕はレディーじゃないですからいいのです。
I'm not a lady, so it's fine.
She deliberately pouted and looked at me with upturned eyes.
じゃあリカちゃんも今からレディーだ。
Then, starting now, you're a lady.
レディーなら仕方ありませんです。
If I'm a lady, then I suppose I must.
Rika-chan, appearing to be satisfied with being considered a lady, made her way to join Satoko in the hallway. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, Rika-chan stopped suddenly and turned back towards me.
ケイチは野球を始めますですか？
Are you going to start playing baseball?
It seems that Rika-chan had noticed the bat.
ああ、ちょっとさ。
Yeah, just, you know,
体がなまってさ。
I was feeling a bit out of shape,
ちょっと素振りでも始めようかなってな。
so I thought I'd just try practicing my swing.
健康に気を使うのはとても良いことだと思いますです。
I think it's wonderful you're taking care of your health.
She was talking like an old lady, despite her appearance. After saying that, Rika-chan started to leave again, but stopped and looked back at me once more.
そのバットなくさないでくださいねです。
Please don't lose that bat.
It seemed she already knew I took it out of someone's locker. There's no name on the locker door. I didn't know whose bat it was, but I'd be borrowing it until they complained. It wouldn't be for long, just until the gem storage shed was opened. I want to note, in here, in the anime, when Satoko sees the bat, she takes off running, and then Rika tells him not to lose the bat. And about it's also that you're taking care of your health thing. After quickly changing into the tracksuit, I checked the time. I still had plenty of time before class began because I came so early. I took the bat in one hand and went out to the schoolyard. That was, of course, to practice my swing. I needed to make it known I would always have a bat on me so I could practice my swing. At some point, the sunlight had become even stronger. Disregarding my classmates as they made their way back to school, I took my position in the shadow of the school building. I wasn't the academic type, and I wasn't much of an athlete either. I might get muscle pain if I just suddenly started swinging. I should at least start out with some warm-ups. I doubt anyone would think I was doing something out of the ordinary, which was the exact opposite of my actual mental state. I gripped the bat and swung lightly. The bat was by no means light. The weight would make it a reliable weapon when I needed it to be. Of course, I could only pray the moment I needed to use this as a weapon would never come. Just carrying it around could deter attacks against me. At least, that's what I hoped. Oh, lightness in a weapon is good to an extent, but you want it to have some sort of weight so that you can throw your body into it and give it momentum. So, lightness in itself does not make a good weapon.
あれ？
Huh?
ケイちゃん？
Kei-chan?
あんた何やってんの？
What are you doing?
Being bombarded with such a hysterical voice, I jumped.
ああ、ケイチくん、野球部だよ。野球部だよ。
What? Kei-chan? Are you on the baseball team? The baseball team?
It was Rena and Mion.
先に行ったって言われて驚いたけど、ケイちゃん、あんた何やってるわけ？
I'm surprised to hear you went off ahead. What are you doing, Kei-chan?
素振りだよ。甲子園だよ。
Can't you tell by looking? I'm practicing my swing. For the championship.
別にダイエットでもいいぞ。
You could say it's part of my diet if you want.
ダイエットってケイちゃん、そんなに太ってたっけ？
Diet? Kei-chan, are you really that fat?
ああ、知らなかったろ。実は三段腹なんだ。
Bet you didn't know. I actually have a beer belly.
もちもちでタプタプなんだぞ。
It's plump and jiggles.
もちもちでタプタプ。
Plump and jiggles.
レナ、変な想像しなくていいぞ。
Rena, you don't have to imagine something weird like that. To disrupt Rena from imagining something that vulgar, I ruffled her hair messily.
じゃあまあ、頑張って県大会を目指してちょうだいよ。
Well then, hope you make it to regionals at least.
おじさん応援してるわ。
This old man will cheer you on.
野球部の強い高校、教えようか？
Want me to tell you the best high schools for baseball?
そこにいる左腕の亀田くんが、すごいピッチャーなんだけどさ。
See Kamede-kun over there? He's a southpaw and an amazing pitcher.
頑張ってね。
Good luck!
Seems they've already taken me for a baseball nut, but oh well. Well, if I really did make it to the championship, it would be a cinch. After all, I'd be the pitcher and catcher. Could you find some other way to word that, please? I'd pitch the ball, then run past that ball I just threw and change over to being a catcher in a burst of super incredible explosive speed. I laughed dryly at the ludicrous image. Probably not the same ludicrous image that popped into my mind. Coming back to my senses, I smashed the bat against the ground. Darn it!
何笑ってんだよ、俺。
What am I laughing at? I pounded the ground over and over. With each impact, the reverberation traveling through the bat stung my hands. See, sorry I haven't been clicking as much. I don't know when it expects me to click and when it expects me to wait. I have a difficult time trying to figure it out. If they smile at me like that, I'll... Don't allow anyone close to me. Don't trust anyone. No matter how many times I tell myself that. If they made me smile like that, I already knew quite well that there were demons dwelling in my smiling friends. But I just couldn't believe it. Did that kind of split personality really exist? Like how Elena confessed to the doctor. Were they simply being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? In other words, did a supernatural being like Oyashiro-sama really exist, and was it possessing everyone to try and kill me? Yeah, that would be wonderful. If only everyone were actually my friends all along, and everything was all just Oyashiro-sama's fault.
前原圭一のバカ野郎！だから！
You darn fool, Maibara Keiichi! Come on now! I yelled out, drawing out all the power from the pit of my stomach, and raised the bat violently into the air.
甘えるんじゃねえ！
Stop being so soft! As I screamed out with all my might, I beat the metal bat into the ground over and over. With every impact, my weakness was being beaten down.
Darn
forget. Don't be soft. Know your enemy. Like heck, I'd let them kill me. My shoulders heaving up and down from my ragged breathing. I heard the first bell ring just as I calmed down. Transitions sure like to take the time. I gasped with a sudden realization. That was the final bell. As I felt all the tension drain from me, I let out a deep breath. My mind was in a muddled state for much of the entire day. I didn't feel like I was awake, but it didn't feel like I was asleep either. I couldn't say it felt especially comfortable, but I felt a kind of relief that the sanctity of the school part of my daily life had yet to be violated. How long would I have to keep on living like this? I could only grit my teeth and bear with it as this living hell slowly gnawed away at me.
Keiichi-kun!
Keiichi-kun!
やろうやろう
Come on!
部活の時間なんだよ。だよ
It's club time! Club time!
The sound of Rena's voice brought me back to my senses.
ほらほら、ケイちゃん、ぼーっとしない。
Come on, Kei-chan! Stop spacing out!
机を寄せて寄せて。
Bring your desk! Your desk! Everyone was moving their desks together as usual. That's right, it was happy fun club time. But I had no intention of taking part. I haphazardly stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag as I prepared to go home. It was a weak-handed gesture to avoid having to actually say, I'll be going home now.
なんだよ、ケイちゃん。
What's this, Kei-chan?
今日も直帰なわけ？
You planning on going home right away again? Myung sounded quite disappointed.
気分が乗らないんだ。しばらくほっといてくんないかな。
I'm just not in the mood. Could you just let me be for a while? The tone of the words that spilled from my mouth matched Myung's disapproving glare. It felt like the air in the room had dried out. Satoko looked like she was about to say something, but perhaps dissuaded by the mood, she swallowed her words and stayed silent. Nobody said a thing. I took that to mean that I could leave if I wanted. But the collective gaze of the four of them, like the tiny pins used to mount an insect in a display, held me in place. Reina was the one who cut through the heavy mood.
ケイイチくん、やっぱり女の子と一緒に遊ぶのなんか嫌だったかな
Keiichi-kun, I guess he just didn't like playing with girls, I guess.
She said it in such a melancholic tone that it sent a wave of pain racing through my heart. If this pain was going to kill me, I wanted it to be the soft part of me that could still feel pain. I tore at my chest, violently tearing out the pins that held me in place.
そういうわけじゃねえよ。
That's not it at all. I'd only be hurting myself by saying anything more, so I swallowed my words. Cutting things off there, I turned away and exited the classroom. They didn't speak a word to me as I left. It was a long, dull trip back home, but I didn't lose focus. I firmly squeezed the grip of the bat, which was already soggy from sweat. Realizing that, I wiped it down with my sleeve. If something were to happen, I wouldn't want it to be slippery. Since this morning, I'd become especially sensitive to the presence of cars. Even while walking, my ears pricked up and sought out threatening sounds and presences that could be closing in. I'll have to take note of all the little typos and stuff, and let the mod creators know so they can discuss whether or not to fix it. And that was why I could hear it. Without a doubt, there were footsteps. Those footsteps had matched up perfectly with mine for a while now. From what I could sense, it was just one person. But I had no intention of being careless. Did they intend to follow me like that car this morning until we were in a good location to assault me? Then it wasn't a good idea to keep walking like this. I stopped walking and looked back. The wooded path crowded with trees responded with silence as if there was nobody there to begin with. But I wouldn't be fooled. I was certain footsteps were following me. And just as I stopped, the footsteps stopped as well. Meaning, the person following me wanted to keep their distance. That was, without question, proof that I was their target. I held my breath, waiting for that presence to panic and start moving again. Okay, so he can hear footsteps. You know, that part, I can just say, there's something to that, but he's kind of missing the mark a little bit. The trees rustled with the sound of the wind. The Higurashi also joined in the dissonant chorus, trying to throw my focus into disarray. Had 5 minutes passed? Or had I been like this for a whole 30 minutes? It was so hard to breathe that I might have suffocated. It seemed I would be the first one to panic. Without a doubt, he was lurking in the shade of that tree with bated breath. Then, I'd make the first move. I fixed my grip on the bat. I raced it up to my shoulder to be ready to swing it at any time.
Oi!
Hey!
いるんだろ、そこに!
I know you're there! With all my might, I screamed at whoever was hiding in the shade of the trees. But the presence in the shade didn't budge. Until the moment I found them, they had no intention of revealing themselves.
分かってんだよ!
I know already!
そこにいるのはよ!
I know you're there! I screamed out angrily at them again. Or it should be, I know you're there! I screamed out angrily at them again, but even still they didn't move at all. Then I'll go over there myself! With all due vigilance I approached, step by step. Stepping into the tree's shadow, I saw a human figure there. That figure was curled up like a small animal.
Lena!
Lena! When she realized I had found her, her expression softened. She seemed apologetic, but wasn't going to speak a word.
なんか俺に言おうかよ!
Did you have some business with me? I wouldn't accept that silence and screamed the question at her.
別に、
Not really. It's just,
Lena was in a panic with tears welling up in her eyes. But it was obvious that she had been following me.
部活はどうしたんだよ?
What about the club?
ケイチくんがお休みしたから、レナもお休み。
since you're not, I'm not.
関係ないだろ!
That shouldn't matter!
俺なんか気にしないで遊んでろよ!
Don't mind me and just play!
だって、ケイチくんのこと心配で。
But I'm just worried about you.
Thinking about how I'd been acting up until now, it wasn't hard to imagine that my behavior could have been perceived as strange. So Lena was concerned. At a quick glance, that's how it would seem. But I wasn't going to let my guard down that easily. Even if that was really the case, she still wouldn't have to do something like try to tail me. She should have called out to me when I was leaving and gone out right with me. But Lena didn't do that. She kept her distance from me and matched my walking speed. On top of that, she matched the sound of her footsteps and deviously tried to hide her presence from me. Then, after she realized I noticed she was there, she held her breath as she tried hiding from me. She wore a timid expression that would force one to take pity on her, but without a doubt, she was tailing me.
もうついてくんなよ.
Stop following me. Still glaring at Lena, I continued walking onwards. After I had walked for a bit, she ignored my command and began walking again. So I yelled at her once more.
ついてくるなって言ってるだろ!
I told you not to follow me!
だって、レナの家も同じ方向だし。
My house is in the same direction.
じゃあレナが先を歩けよ! レナが見えなくなったら俺も歩く.
Then walk ahead of me! I'll start walking once I can't see you anymore. I moved out of the way and waved my bat violently to urge her forward.
レナは ケイチくんと一緒に帰りたいな。
I'd like to go home together with you.
Making a pitiful expression, she meekly squeaked out the words in a voice that she knew would cut into my heart. That agitated me to no end. I knew it was a lie. If you wanted to go home together, then you should have called out to me. Now you're just blurting out random lies.
ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry.
It seemed that the seething anger within me was written all over my face. Even without me saying anything, Elena had understood what I was feeling inside.
わかったならほら、行けよ。
If you get it, then go! I swung the bat, urging her again to walk. Elena looked back and forth between me and the bat and started walking hesitantly, then stopped again.
早く行けよ、早く。
Go on then! Hurry!
行くから。
I'm going.
そのバットやめてよ。
So please stop with the bat.
怖いの。
It's scary.
Elena guarded herself while pointing at me holding the bat. She may have realized that I wasn't planning on using this bat for baseball. I lowered the bat, but still guardedly opened the way for her.
行けよ。
Go.
これなら文句ないだろ。
There's no problem now, is there? There was nothing else she could protest. She passed by me timidly so as to not set me off. As I watched her pass by, she stopped completely after having barely moved at all.
おい、立ち止まるなよ。
Hey! Don't stop! Then, a powerful gust blew past us, barraging my face with dust. The dust got into my eyes and clouded my vision. While rubbing my eyes with my left hand, I swung blindly with the bat in my right, protecting the small opening I had presented. But Elena didn't even try to attack during that opening. Attack me? No. She hadn't budged an inch. I could tell from the sound of her fluttering skirt in the wind. As her skirt settled, so did the silence. At that moment, the voice inside of me immediately warned me of impending danger. I was caught by surprise. The smell of the air had changed. Without me realizing it, the air around me suddenly felt like a calamity was about to befall me. It was like the air had suddenly become invisible concrete, like Lena and I were locked in this space. Lena didn't move an inch. Also unable to move, I stared at her back. Lena was the first to break the silence. Instantly, she altered her stance. I felt like I had just witnessed her shift from Lena into that other person who looks like Lena. But the voice was one I knew well, which filled me with a kind of bewildering pity. Carelessly, I felt relief upon hearing that pitiful voice.
ごめんね。
Well, excuse me, but...
聞いてもいい？
Can I ask you something?
Too shy to even turn around, Lena squeezed her voice out desperately, as she trembled.
なんだよ。
What?
あのね。どうしてバットなんか持ってるのかな？
Why do you have a bat, I wonder?
The question Lena asked was by no means unexpected.
俺が何を持ってたっていいだろ。
I can carry whatever I want.
でも、昨日まで持ってなかったし。
But you didn't have one up until today.
どうして突然？
Why so suddenly?
別に突然でもいいだろ。
It's alright if I decide to do something suddenly, isn't it?
俺がバットを持ってるとおかしいかよ。
Is it strange that I have a bat?
だってケイチくん、野球とかしない人だったでしょ？
Because, Kate, you're not the kind of person to play baseball.
おかしいよ。
It's weird.
I couldn't tell what kind of answer she was looking for, and I was getting tired of answering her.
突然。 野球がしたくなったんだよ。
I just suddenly got the urge to play baseball.
それじゃおかしいか？
Is that so weird?
おかしいよ。
It's weird.
She answered instantly, and that annoyed me slightly.
突然野球がしたくなった。
I just suddenly wanted to play baseball.
素振りがしたくなったから、バットを持ち歩いてる。
And I wanted to practice my swing, so I'm carrying around a bat.
それのどこが変なんだよ。
What's strange about that?
変。
Strange.
おかしい。
Weird.
絶対。
Definitely.
なんで圭一くんまで。
Why you too?
ぶつくさとうるせえやつだな。
Your ramblings are annoying me.
俺がスポーツに目覚めるのが、そんなに変かよ。
Is it that strange for me to have an interest in sports? I tried to sound a bit more threatening to end the conversation. Until my suspicions about Lena were cleared, I had no obligation to answer her questions.
ごめんね、ごめんね。
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
そんなに怒らないで。
Don't get so angry.
Lena still didn't turn around and spat out words of apology one after the next.
最後に一個だけ。
Just one last thing.
一個だけ教えて。
Tell me one last thing.
これ以上話す気も教える気もねえよ。
I don't feel like talking anymore.
早く行けよ！
Hurry up and go! I yelled loudly at her, causing her to flinch like she had been struck. Seeing her in such a pathetic state caused my heart to ache sorely. But even though she was afraid, she stubbornly kept herself from moving. Before I was able to threaten her again, Lena asked her final question.
なんでバットまで同じなの？
Why is even your bat the same?
What did she mean by the bat was the same? I had no idea what she was talking about.
お前、何言ってんだ？
What are you saying?
だから、なんでバットまで同じなのかなって。
I mean, why is even the bat the same?
何を言ってんだか全然わかんねえよ。
I don't understand what you mean at all.
もっとはっきり言え。
Say it clearly. Even still, Lena didn't turn around. After inhaling deeply, she screamed.
だから、どうしてバットまでサトシ君と同じなの？
I mean, why is even the bat the same as Satoshi-kun?
サトシって、
Satoshi being... Upon hearing that name out of the blue, I became dumbfounded for a brief moment. By Satoshi, did she mean the student who transferred out last year? No, that couldn't be. Elena had tried to cover it up by saying he transferred, but Oyashiro-sama told me quite clearly that he was missing. He was the student who sat at my seat up until last year. He was believed to have been demoned away by Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't know the details about his disappearance. The aunt he lived with was killed the night of the Watanagashi by a drug addict, and not long after that, he suddenly vanished, and was now missing. That Satoshi and I were... What? My gaze fell to the bat in my hands. Could it be? Hojo Satoshi? It was a bit difficult to see, but that was what was written on the white tape at the end of the bat. I see. So, this was Satoshi's bat. In the anime, it was on the butt of the handle. It was on the pommel.
Oh.
Oh.
これ、サトシのバットだったんだな。
This was Satoshi's bat.
誰も使ってなかったんで、ちょっと借りたんだよ。
Since nobody was using it, I borrowed it.
いいだろ、それくらい。
That's not a problem, is it?
そんなことじゃないの。
That's not it.
The way Lena said that made it seem like this bat was something that should never be touched. By the way, is my audio level okay? Let me know in chat. Because this music is really loud to me. It's tolerably loud, but I don't know. I feel like maybe my audio levels might be off. Please let me know. Thanks. The way Rena said it made it seem like this bat was something that should never be touched. Like it was some sort of offering at a shrine, or memento of the deceased. I could only stand there, perplexed and unable to respond. Rena continued speaking without waiting for a reply.
サトシ君の時と、どうしてそんなにまで同じなの？
Why is it? Why is it?
Lorena was talking about more than just a bat belonging to Satoshi.
サトシ君もそうだった。
It was the same with Satoshi-kun.
野球チームには入ってたけど、本当は野球なんか好きじゃない人だったのに。
He joined the baseball team, but he really didn't like baseball.
それが俺とどう関係が？
What does that have to do with me?
サトシ君もある日突然バットを持ち歩き始めたの。
Satoshi-kun also suddenly started walking around with a bat one day.
チームに入ってただけでスポーツなんかしない人だったのに。
He joined a team, but he wasn't the type to play sports.
What about it? I closed my mouth before I could say that out loud. Listen carefully, Keiichi. Lorena is trying to tell us something important.
サトシ君もね、ある日突然一人で登校するようになったの。
Satoshi-kun also one day came to school all by himself all of a sudden.
ケイチ君みたいに。
Just like Keiichi-kun.
そしてね、ある日突然素振りの練習を始めたの。
Then one day he suddenly started practicing his swing.
ケイチ君みたいに。
Just like Keiichi-kun.
そしてね、ある日突然バットを持ち歩くようになったの。
And one day he suddenly began carrying the bat around with him.
ケイチ君みたいに。
Just like Keiichi-kun.
そしてね、ある日突然。
And one day he suddenly.
Then one day, he suddenly... What? Lorena had swallowed her words. Lorena's sudden silence brought a hush back to the surrounding area. It was then that I could finally digest the content of the entire conversation. She was saying my chain of actions was exactly the same as Satoshi's. What was the meaning of this? Up until just now, I'd forgotten all about Satoshi. I had never paid much thought to him in the first place. Not only that, I didn't even know anything of what he'd done. My actions today should have been my own creation, after all the planning I had done. But they had been the exact same as Satoshi's. Then Satoshi... No, more importantly, if both Satoshi and I acted the same, then there was a really good possibility that what happened after would be the same.
レナ、ある日突然、サトシはどうしたんだよ。
But I know... that day... What happened to Satoshi? Rena knew. She knew what became of Satoshi. No, forget about what happened to a guy in the past. Rena knew what was gonna happen to me.
答えろよ、レナ。
Answer me, Rena!
サトシはどうしたんだよ。
Satoshi! What happened to him? With that, I grabbed Rena's shoulder violently and forcibly turned her around to face me. As I faced her, I felt a jolt travel through my entire body.
言ったよね、
I told you,
ケイチ君。
Keiichi-kun.
It was that person that I didn't know. At least, it definitely wasn't the Ryugu Rena I had been talking to up until now. The voice just now didn't have a trace of the trembling or emotion that it had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so carelessly was unsurpassed. That gaze that pierced like a cold needle, the smile on her face that invoked an image of having been carved out by a knife. Chills went down my spine. My mind froze under a layer of rime. Both of Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away, as if to remind me of the fear from that time before. Rena brought her face close to mine, so close that I could feel her breath. Her face had filled my entire field of vision. Then, her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper, like the curve of a crescent moon. She grinned.
言ったよね、
I told you,
ケイチ君。
Keiichi-kun.
After a short pause, Rena repeated the same words again.
サトシ君はね、転校しちゃったの。
Satoshi-kun, you see, transferred out.
Transferred? Meaning what? What Rena meant must have been some new definition of transfer that I was previously not aware of. But my throat and lips dried up. I couldn't even acknowledge what I had just heard. All I could do was swallow down my own saliva. It would seem that Lena saw that as a nod. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and I fell to my knees pathetically. Lena and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to be a very odd sight indeed. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. Sorry, I have built up gas. And it keeps starting to come out, and sometimes it's affecting me being able to pronounce clearly and enunciate. But I could neither stand nor escape with her gaze shooting through my eyes. There was undoubtedly a metal bat in my hand, but right now it was useless to me. I was like a fly caught in her web. Heavy sweat beaded all over my body. I could feel it dripping from my skin.
しないよね、
But you won't, will you?
ケイチ君は。
Kate-kun?
Rena finally released me from that cage of time after what felt like an eternity. Her question was missing something important and was incredibly vague. Once again, I swallowed hard, urging her on.
何をだよ。
Do what? What did she not want me to do?
転校。
Tang?
Code switching.
Transfer.
Oh, seems like it's... Oh, I got an achievement. I was gonna say seems like it's the end of the chapter, but it's not yet. Oh, wrong thing. I hit Alt-Tab when I meant to hit Shift-Tab. Pinch hit... I thought that said pinch Hitler. Pinch hitter. Take up another's bat. Alright. Satoshi and I had... What? All my well-planned actions throughout the day turned out to have been nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi. Had he really been in the same situation as I was now? The friends he had gotten along with had changed suddenly, and for no reason, at least none that I had noticed, planned to kill him? Then, fearing for his life as I am, he got a bat to protect himself, and carried it around every day to practice his swing. And then one day, suddenly, he
transferred.
My blood went cold, causing a prickling sensation to course through my veins. Starting near my heart, it radiated outwards, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recourse. What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Was Satoshi still at wherever he transferred to? Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, where did he transfer to? What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The frigid knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? It wasn't that odd of an occurrence. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the single key attached to my first sealed cage. Pulled out the single key attached to my first sealed keychain. I stepped into the entryway. Just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. Someone had entered right behind me, like a classmate messing around, standing right up against my back. You're kidding, right? It had to be my imagination. Logically speaking, It was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence within my personal space all the way through the door. But there was undoubtedly someone behind me. Hey now, Keiichi. How do you know they're there even though they're behind you? Because I could hear the sound of flowing hair. There's no other reason I'd hear that sound. That was the presence. Because I could hear the sound of them blinking. Maebara Keiichi, there's no way you could hear that. My most base instincts were warning me of the presence. Common sense was telling me that it was just my imagination. It was just my imagination. There was nobody behind me. I began to erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. But at the same time, I asked myself, if there was nobody, then what was I feeling? As an uncomfortable sensation crawled up my spine. Actually, wouldn't it be better if there were somebody there? If there are nobody there when you turn around, would you be able to accept that? I'd be able to answer all those questions just by looking behind me. But I didn't have enough courage to even do that simple task. Oh, right. I could try speaking to them. The person behind me might answer me. It was a random thought. I didn't care how I went about it, just so long as I didn't have to turn around. If I had calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that that wouldn't have solved anything.
どなたですか?
Who is it? I spoke in such a hoarse, broken voice that I couldn't believe it was my own. I could almost feel them contemplating their response. I felt it. There's no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Keiichi. It's all in your head. That time I was certain I heard it. As if hesitantly trying to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of somebody inhaling. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but a tiny speck of courage in me, however reckless it was, inspired a primal yet fitting solution to this current predicament. A scream. All the force of my body released from my lungs and through my throat, ceasing all thought processes in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a house of cards, somehow managing to twist my body and look back as I did so. It was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. Until the moment I turned around, until I brought the area behind me into my field of vision, they were definitely there. Falling face up, my eyes traced the remnants of the presence suspended in the empty space. It couldn't be. They were invisible. They looked like they weren't there. But were they actually still standing there? As I screamed, all the emotions I was holding back burst free in a violent wave. However, I was decidedly calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully diverted into a torrent of aggression. That emotion was definitely required to extricate myself from the bizarre situation happening right in front of me. In my state of heightened lucidity, I entrusted my body to the fury. The metal bat held firm in my right hand as if drawn there by a magnet. A mid-level sweep would be the hardest attack to dodge. I remembered reading something like that from a book about swordsmanship or something. I brandished my will to fight. The afterimage of that amalgamation of metal flashed as it swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The bat slammed to the right wall, the tip rebounding violently. Very calmly, I transferred the force of the rebound into a sweep to the left. The door of the shoe cupboard was split into pieces. Those two swings whipped through empty space, but they seemed to have a great psychological impact on the enemy. I could feel the panic emanating from that space. The attack wasn't the only thing required. Extract. Waited for the yawn to be over. I extracted the bat from the cupboard it was embedded in. I screamed as I spun my entire body around in a large arc. My scream shook the air, imbuing my ferocious swing with even more destructive power. Without mercy or restraint, my violent strike, certainly fatal force behind it, shattered the top of the cupboard. None of my attacks struck the enemy. My ferocity had certainly seemed to impact them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat. The invisible enemy, there but not there, dispersed. When I was certain that the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door and latched the chain. No way. Had it only feigned retreat and was now inside my house. Once again, I channeled my aggression and searched the house for the presence. But it was gone. I had succeeded in fending it off. At that moment, the tension drained from my body and I let out a deep sigh of relief. All of the emotions I'd been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. A hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief all mixed together began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back with the strongest. Exhaustion. Even in this moment, I remained composed. After checking that all the doors throughout the house were locked, I went up to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. I straightened my back and tilted my head back a little. After clearing my mind of all my idle thoughts, I had managed to calm down even more. What was that at the front door? There was definitely something there. Thinking about it, maybe it was just an apparition I dreamt up in my confused state. But I really didn't think that was the case. Calm down, my Bata-keiji. Compose yourself. But no matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon. And without a doubt, something was behind me. Feast your eyes, you're killing the mood. It wasn't some sort of illusion I saw amidst my confusion and disorientation. Proof? I had just one piece. When I asked who is it, they inhaled as if they were about to answer. That sound had clearly reached my ears. The situation I was in right now was still unclear. Either I had been possessed by the supernatural phenomenon known as Oyashiro-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also still a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would mean admitting that it was Rana and the rest of them doing it, but it would be solvable. Oyashiro-sama and the rest of the police would surely arrest my enemy. But if it was a manifestation of Oyashiro-sama's curse, I wondered what would happen. Oyashiro-sama very clearly declared that curses didn't exist. At that time, those words were pretty dependable. But as things were now, with the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, he suddenly seemed quite unreliable. If I told Oyashiro-sama this was the work of Oyashiro-sama's curse, what would happen? I couldn't imagine his reaction, but it would go without question that a void would expand rapidly between myself and Oyashiro-sama. With me having so few hours to begin with and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse, there was no merit to doing that. I'd better keep the facts of what just happened at the doorway to myself. It would be better if I didn't add to what happened here to the memo behind the clock. There's still the ever so slight possibility that I was actually confused when I thought it was composed, and I was just going berserk in the entryway. How wonderful would that be if that was really what happened? I would be able to refute Oyashiro-sama's curse. But if I denied Oyashiro-sama's curse, then then that would mean admitting that Reina and the rest were the perpetrators. If I said that Reina and the rest weren't the perpetrators, then that would mean believing in Oyashiro-sama's curse. By denying both of those, I would be admitting that I myself was losing it. The three options from which I couldn't choose became a trilemma of sorts. They mixed together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Cage. Accept what has actually happened as reality. Stop thinking of anything more than that. But I couldn't help but think of it. How wonderful it would be if it turned out I was delirious, and everything up until now was a figment of my imagination. Oyashiro-sama's curse wouldn't exist, and I would still be bestest buddies with Reina and the rest. I would have to be crazy. That was the first time in my life I had ever wished for such a thing. The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls from me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. Lazy. I squirmed off the bed and went downstairs.
Moshi, Maibara desu.
Hello, this is the Bata residence.
ケイチ、お母さんだけど。
Phone call imitating time.
Katie, this is Mom.
I intuitively had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy some things. So I took the initiative.
何？
What?
別に俺、夕食はインスタントでもいいよ。
I don't mind having instant noodles for dinner.
まだいっぱいあったでしょ？
There's still a lot of them. The other day we went out as a family and bought a whole case of cup noodles. I wanted to get a bunch of different kinds actually, but they refused since the individual packs were expensive. So instead I got a whole case of the mega-sized pork bone and ginger flavored ones I liked. But my parents don't like strong flavors and didn't touch any of them. So the cupboards were still full of them.
だからさ、買い物に行く必要はないんじゃないの？
So you see, there really isn't a need to go shopping, right?
ケイチ、買い物のお願いじゃないの。
Katie, I'm not asking you to go shopping.
お父さんとお母さんね、お仕事の関係で急遽東京に行かなくちゃならなくなったの。
Both Mommy and Daddy have to go to Tokyo right now because of work.
I have to wonder, should they just say mom and dad? Like, I imagine mom and dad is somewhat analogous to, what you would call your parents when you're young, maybe just a pet name. But here's the thing. People's names, people's, references to their parents don't change with the person's age in Japan, like it does in English-speaking countries.
今から？
Right now? This is really abrupt.
もう着いちゃってるの。
No, we're already here.
お昼には出発してたからね。
We left this afternoon.
It's quite a distance to Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Getting at full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken longer. The trains are packed. Well, closer to Tokyo they would be packed. I don't know about all the way out here.
ケイチもお父さんとお母さんの話を聞いてたからわかるかもしれないけど、お父さんのお仕事の契約がね、今ちょっとうまくいってないの。
I'm thinking you might understand since you heard us speaking last night, but it has to do with Daddy's contract. Right now, things aren't going so smoothly.
Now that she mentioned it, I did remember that they talked all that time about how his job prospects weren't looking so good.
お父さんはそういうのに繊細な人だから、このままだとお仕事にも影響が出ちゃうの。
is really sensitive about things like this, so if we leave things as they are, it will affect his work.
Part of my father's particularly fragile artistic personality. His emotions change as easily as the fall sky. You could also just say he couldn't take criticism.
でも、そんなの電話でやり取りすればいいじゃないか。
But something like that can be done over the phone.
圭一、お父さんのお仕事なんだから、もうちょっと応援してあげて。ね。
Keiichi, this is your father's job, so can you support him a bit, please?
とにかく電話よりも直接会って話した方が早いの。
Anyway, it's just faster to talk about it in person,
誤解もないし。
so there wouldn't be any misunderstandings.
As their son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work.
だから帰るのは明日の晩になっちゃうの。
So we'll be back tomorrow night.
圭一、一人で大丈夫よね。
Keiichi, will you be fine on your own?
別に死にゃしないよ。
This is the second time that he said that in the visual novel. This is the only time he says it in the anime. It's not like I'll die or anything.
圭一、死んじゃうなんて軽々しく言っちゃダメよ。
Keiichi, you shouldn't speak so lightly of dying.
Well, at least his mom's genre savvy.
心配事があったら相談してね。
If there's something troubling you, just talk to us.
母さん、きっと相談に乗れると思うから。
I believe Mommy will be able to help you out.
Yesterday I did bring up if I died rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little worried. But really, I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be solved by telling them. But I didn't plan on dying. At least, not while I still knew nothing. I'd never allow it.
死なないよ。
I won't die.
俺は
I won't.
あがいてでも生き延びる。
I'll survive even if I have to gnaw my leg off.
そう。
Yeah,
じゃあね。
see you then.
明日の朝、ちゃんと起きるのよ。
Tomorrow morning, make sure to wake up
朝ごはんは食べてね。
and eat your breakfast.
お風呂と歯磨きも忘れないのよ。
And don't forget to take a bath and brush your teeth.
へいへい。そんじゃ。
Yeah. See you. The call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings, but Tokyo was far away. They normally did things by phone. The times they did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened as suddenly. I couldn't say that those circumstances didn't feel strange, or rather, unnatural. Anyway, I only needed to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight, I was the only one in the house. That when my parents came back from work, I'd be gone. Missing. Vanished. Looking back on the series of events of the previous 5 years involving Oyashiro-sama's curse, it wouldn't seem that strange at all. Sorry, the tearful performance I gave earlier was, well, all the tears had gone into my nasal passages and into my sinuses. And now it's hard for me to speak without it sounding like I have a cold. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light in the whole house was from my room on the second floor. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone, and this was their chance. First, I ran to the living room, flicked on the lights, and turned on the TV to reassuring volume. Next was the study. I similarly turned on the lights and some music. With this, from the outside it looked like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if there were anything left unlocked. When I saw the veranda and the laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I needed to take it down. I snatched down the laundry haphazardly and erased all traces that my mother wasn't there. It should be fine now. The garage! They hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car, but they had gone up to Okinomiya Station. The garage was empty, wide open, and in plain sight. This was not good. I panicked and rushed out the back to close the normally open garage door. It should be fine now. I needed to get... darn it. Oh well. I wanted to see the log. Okay. I needed to get the paper. Mom always got the paper. Since they left in the afternoon. The evening paper was still out there. My premonition was correct. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the entryway. With this, for sure this time, it should be fine. Come to think of it, leaving the cupboard busted like that for my little freakout was kinda bad. I'll just say I tripped and fell, and the bat I was holding smashed into it. Even so, just leaving it in its current state wasn't good. I should clean it up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. I remembered that there was a broom and dustpan in the closet. As I was gonna get them, the phone rang once again.
もしもし、前原です。
Hello, this is the Maibara residence.
あら、圭一くん？
Oh, is this Keiichi-kun?
お母様はいらっしゃいますかしら？
Is your mother around?
I think we've heard this voice before. I won't say anything, but see if you can guess.
今ちょっといないんですけど。
She isn't here at the moment. You idiot, Maibara Keiichi. Don't reveal that your parents are gone. You can follow up still. Calm down and take care of it.
すぐに戻ると思います。
I think she'll be back soon. That wasn't a good response either. Now they might say they'll call again, or to tell her to call them when she comes back.
なら結構です。
Then that's fine. Then that's fine.
大した話でもありませんから。
It wasn't anything important.
では失礼しますわね。
Well then, sorry for the bother.
The scenario I feared didn't play out, eliciting a sigh of relief. That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I'd have to deal with any telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. Sorry. That should help a little bit. I was somehow able to deal with a phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I needed to make up a good story to explain that my parents were home but couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They were making tempura and couldn't step away right now. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. It was like they were calling because they knew I was gonna lie. I didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They'd suspect my parents weren't here. I should have just taken the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize the pretense that I didn't realize that it was. But since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I prepared myself and lifted up the receiver.
もしもし。
Hello? I stopped announcing this was the Maibara residence. I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But unlike my uncouth voice, the person on the other side sounded goofy and lighthearted.
どうも、夜分遅くに申し訳ありません。
Hello. My apologies for calling so late.
私、沖宮書房の大石と申しますが。
This is Ooishi from the Okinomiya bookstore.
大石さんですか。
Oyashiro-sama?
前原さんですか。
Is that you, Maibara-san?
こんばんは。お元気そうで何よりです。
Good evening. Good to hear you are doing well.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
Wait just a moment, please. I grabbed the portable handset and rushed up to my room with it. It was the same no matter where I was since there was no one else home, but I wanted to be in a spot that just felt a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oyashiro-sama.
お待たせしました。
Sorry for the wait.
いかがですか、その後お変わりは。
How are things? Anything changed since then? Since then? When was that exactly? There was something about the brazen way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. the last time I spoke with Oyashiro-sama was 2 days ago. The day I stayed home from school. I met Oyashiro-sama on the way back from the hospital, and we headed into town for lunch and had a talk. Then after that, Rena and Mion came to check up on me. Whenever I spoke with Oyashiro-sama, they always knew about it. It was like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may well be found out by them as well.
もしもし
Hello?
聞こえてますか前原さん
Can you hear me? Maebara-san.
え
Huh?
あ、すみません。
Sorry.
なんて言いました？
What did you say?
その後何か変わったことはありませんかとお尋ねしたんです
I asked if anything's changed since last time.
お返事がないんで焦りましたよ
There wasn't an answer, so I got a bit worried.
特には。
Not really. The words stopped in my throat. There's a ton of stuff that happened. All of it baffling. What should I talk about? I didn't understand any of it, but I should try asking. If I didn't ask now, I may never have another chance. This night when my parents weren't home, I had no guarantees I would make it through the night safely after all.
大石さん、やっぱり俺、命を狙われているみたいです。
Well, Oyashiro-san, it seems that someone is after me.
本当ですか
Really?
偶然の可能性もあるんですが、先日俺が病気で休んだ日、夕方にあの二人がお見舞いに来たんです。
It could all just be a coincidence. But that day I missed school when I was sick. The two of them came to check up on me.
あの二人
Rich too.
レナとミオンです。
Rena and Mion.
そしてそこで大石さんと一緒に昼飯を食ったことを正されました。
They started asking about how I had lunch with you.
それで
What next?
お見舞いってことでおはぎを置いていったんですが、その中に針が入ってたんです。
They left me some ohage when they came to visit, but there is a needle inside.
偶然飲み込まずに済みましたが、
Fortunately, I somehow didn't swallow it.
これってやっぱり脅迫でしょうか？
I wonder, could that have been just a threat?
その針は
About the needle.
よく見かけるような普通の裁縫針のようでした。
It was just one of those common sewing needles you see all the time.
糸を通す穴が開いていて、
There's a hole to thread string through.
違いますよ前原さん針です
Not that Maebara-san. The needle itself.
証拠になります
That's evidence.
脅迫だと立証できるかもしれません
It could be used as proof that they threatened you.
その針はありますか
Where is that needle? That's right. That's in it. I dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I tossed the mochi, I had overlooked it out of terror. But that needle was a valuable piece of evidence. Let's see. I threw the ohage and needle at the wall together. If it was there, then it would be on the living room wall. Excuse me. But my prudent mother had cleaned that living room wall, and there was not a trace of mochi left on it. Could it be that it dropped in the gap between the wall and the carpet? I frantically searched by running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. I tried moving around the sofa and desks, pulling up the carpet, then flapping it around. But I couldn't find the needle. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? It was just 2 days ago. I didn't know what day they collected the burnable trash, but it may still be in the trash bin in the kitchen. I rushed into the kitchen, opened up the lid of the pail, and poured out the contents. But even at a glance, I could tell that it would be incredibly difficult to find the needle in this pile of trash. I was looking for a needle on a trash stack. I know. I'll try running my hand through it. It was a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. If I felt a small prick, I'll be able to find it. It was a pretty tactless method, but it was the quickest. I held my breath, started striking the pile of trash with my hand. Filth flew about. There was nothing more disgusting than this, but it was not the time to be concerned about such details. I continued on for a while, but nothing turned up. Ruined my precious little, gift card manual. I wanted to search more thoroughly, but I was still on the phone. I shouldn't keep Oyashiro-sama waiting for too long. Later, when Mom got back, I'd have to ask her if there was a needle. I hastily began scribbling on the notepad affixed to the refrigerator with a magnet. Was there a needle? I scrawled the words with a red pen. I then dashed back up the stairs where I had been keeping Oyashiro-sama waiting for far too long.
もしもし
Hello?
どうでしたか
How did it go?
見つかりません。
I couldn't find it.
あの時はつい気が動転していて。
I was really overwhelmed when it happened.
そうですか
I see.
見つかればでいいんです
It would be great if you could find it.
保管しておいてくださいね
Keep it safe. That's right. The needle wasn't the only incident. I had to tell him about this morning with the hit and run.
あと大石さん、それだけじゃないんです。
Also, Oyashiro-sama. That isn't all.
実は今朝。
Actually, this morning, that van was definitely aiming for me. I could say that without question due to the circumstances at that time.
その車のナンバープレートは見ましたか
Did you see the license plate?
こちらでも探してみます
I can search for it from here. Darn. At the time, I just flipped out yelling at him, but I didn't look at the plate. What failures on my part with the needle and the plate number? I was so focused just protecting myself that I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. I punched my pillow, annoyed at how worthless I was.
すみません。白いワゴン車ってこと以外はわかりません。
I'm sorry. I didn't know much more than that it was a white van.
仕方ないことですよ前原さん
Nothing to fret about, Maebara-san.
惹かれかければ気も動転します
Anyone would be shaken up after being hit.
やっぱりこれらって偶然じゃないですよね。
I guess all of this really isn't a coincidence, is it? That felt silly to replicate. Oyashiro-sama started to hem and haw over on the other end. I could imagine him folding his arms.
あとレナの様子もやっぱり怪しいです。
Also, Orena is acting strange.
それはどんな感じですか
How so? What Rena said on the way home today, asking why I was so much like Satoshi-kun. Now I could say it with confidence. Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew that there was more to it than just him simply disappearing.
レナは知っています。
Rena knows.
去年の鬼隠しにあったサトシのことを何か知っています。
She knows something regarding what happened to Satoshi, the kid who was demoned away last year.
それは具体的にどういうことですか
What would that be exactly?
レナが言うには俺はサトシとそっくりらしいんです。
Rena said, I was the same as Satoshi.
このまま行くと俺もサトシと同じ運命をたどるとそんな感じのことを言うんです。
She said something to the effect that the way things are going, I'll end up with the same fate as Satoshi.
運命ですか
Fate, you say?
具体的にどんな運命をたどるか言及しましたか
Exactly what kind of fate did she say would befall you?
転校と。
Transferring out, she said.
転校
Transferring out?
レナはサトシは転校したって言ってるんです。
Rena said Satoshi transferred out.
で、俺もこのままだと転校しちゃうぞって。
So, given how things are going with me, I'll transfer out too. Oyashiro-sama let out a stern sigh and then grumbled loudly.
前原さんそれはおそらく何かの脅迫もしくは警告ですね
Maebara-san, that was probably some sort of threat, or maybe some type of warning.
俺もそう思ってます。
I thought so too. At that point, I started to think, would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened up until now as the machinations of some human perpetrator? Of Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, I was left with Oyashiro-sama's curse actually existing as the only explanation. And not to mention the third option, of course I couldn't tell that to Ooishi-san. Except, Rena's strange behavior could be proof of either scenarios. Whether it was Oyashiro-sama's curse being real or everything being part of a conspiracy committed by all of the villagers. Rena was involved. Rena had to know something. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? I couldn't help but think she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious deaths. I seem to recall that Ooishi-san had admitted that he had dug into Rena's past a little. He was probably just downplaying it when he said a little. Meaning he had actually dug pretty deep, most likely. I wanted to hear about Rena. I wanted to know what happened at her previous school, among other things that were still unknown to me. If Rena was somebody I should suspect. No, not that. I wanted to know the truth. Tonight, I was alone in this huge house. Even though I said I couldn't count on them, I lost the security I felt I had just by my parents being around. It wasn't like this house was some sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person decided to use brute force, they'd easily gain entry. There were no other residences close to the Bata residence. No one would be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I had never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament and the fact that he had this house built in such a remote location as I did right now. I wondered if I would still be here by tomorrow morning. So I had to ask, right now, because I had no idea when the next chance would come.
大石さん、聞きたいことがあるんです。
Oyashiro-sama, I had something I wanted to ask about.
隠さないでくださいね。
Please don't keep anything from me.
何でも聞いてください。
Sure, ask away. Even though he was so far away on the other end of the line, this was the most reliable he had ever felt. I wanted to ask about Rena, about what had happened at her previous school.
実は、レナの。
Actually, regarding Rena's... I noticed a sound that had been going on for a while now. Since I was so focused on the call, I hadn't paid attention to it at first. But I finally realized it was the doorbell. The time was 7 o'clock. It was past the time the postman would be making a delivery, and past any sensible time for a neighbor to be visiting. I considered just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. That would ruin all the work I put in making it look like my parents were home. I need to answer the door.
もしもし、前原さん
Hello? 前原さん?
すみません。誰か来たみたいですので、ちょっと玄関に行ってきます。
Sorry, someone seems to be at the door. I'm gonna go see who it is.
お客さんですか。すみません。
A guest? Oh, a guest? I see. My apologies.
今夜のお電話はこれくらいにしましょうか。
Should we end this phone call now? That would be a problem.
いえ、すぐ戻りますから。
No, I'll be back in a second.
電話はこのままでいいですか？
Do you mind if I just leave the phone on?
はい、構いませんよ。
It's fine. I don't mind. I dropped the handset on my bed and dashed down to the door. I needed to make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch it was the lady who called right before Ooishi-san did. In which case, it would be one of the neighbors who's friends with my mom. I'll just say Mom isn't feeling well and went to bed early. That would be the easiest option. Okay. So I think I'm going to save here because it's getting late. People in this household need to go to bed, and I know a somewhat loud part is coming up, so I'm just going to save that for Thursday. Appreciate all you who tuned in. The Boost, Atsuko, Electrical Skateboard. Hey, even you shut up, James. Awesome. Alright. So, yeah, I'll be returning to this Thursday, and Tuesday is going to be more The Last of Us. So, I'll look forward to that. But in any case, oops. Thought I had my ending music up, and I guess I didn't. I had a VOD up because I was uploading another one to YouTube. Actually, the second VOD of this playthrough. It's a bit inconvenient. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, everyone. And as always, if you like what you see, please feel free to click like, comment, follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Any feedback you can give me at all will help me tailor my future content towards your interests. I'm Regulus Passer, and until next time, Wale!